Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We're talking UFC 274. I apologize it's up a little later this week. That's my fault. Um, didn't go away too much. Starting to go away a little bit again. But first, let's say thank you to our sponsor before we get into the card. Tampa Bless. Home Team Do Good. TampaBless.com for more information about that. Check them
Bam,
out.
bam, bam.
Let's get right into it though. We got the lightweight battle going on right now. This is all taking place over there in Arizona. We got Charles Oliveira, the champ, minus 180 favorite. He's 32 years old. He's 32-8, and he's on a 10-fight winning streak. Last beating Poirier, Chandler, Ferguson. He's going for another record here. He's going to tie or break Khabib's record of title defenses so quick. He's going up against Justin Gaethje, right? Ranked number one right now, plus 155 underdog. He's 23-3. He's 33 years old, and he's coming off beating Chandler. And before that was his loss to Khabib, which he just spoke about, which was something I had mentioned way early on to Tom. Not to get off topic at all. He said the food and everything was so different flying over there. I told Tom it's
I
not a
remember that.
smart move trying to acclimate yourself. I know he's an athlete, but acclimate yourself in 3 to 4 days. You're about to become a millionaire if he wasn't already. Go over there to Fight Island a couple weeks ahead of time and get acclimated. He spoke about that now. I had that issue going in. I was like, I thought Gaethje had a decent shot, and it looked like he just wasn't even there. All right, but Tom, besides that note, what do you got right here? I
Wow.
know you love Do Bronx. Gaethje's the highlight reel. What do you see happening?
No, I love it, man. I like both these dudes. It's interesting because Gaethje in the UFC is only 5-3. He's just been fighting, kind of the thrown in the deep end right away. Don't forget he's got that D1 wrestling background too, so he's not only a puncher. So keep that in mind. He can do takedowns too. I don't recommend it though with third degree black belt Charles Dubronx on the other side
Right.
holding the sub record for the UFC finishes by submission. You know, obviously Oliveira could get knocked out by Gaethje. I could see that happening. You almost saw a flash knockout against Michael Chandler, and Chandler jumped on him and couldn't finish it. It was like really quick, almost like a quick flash knockout. I could see that happening. But who am I going to go with here? I think Charles is going to be too much, and don't underestimate Charles's stand up. It's getting better and better and better. And that can lead to his submission game. That can give him opportunity to get into that sub game. What I'm thinking here is Charles is too well rounded, and round three sub, maybe RNC, guillotine. I'm going with a round three submission win by Du Bronx.
All right, yeah.
But like I said, of course, he could get knocked out by Gaethje.
Yeah, this is finally the good line here. Charles is the favorite. He wasn't even the favorite his last fight. He's the champ. Dude's the champ. He should be the favorite. I like him to win here. I just think he has more skills. He's more well rounded. He's finally a complete fighter. He was always a very good fighter, but now he's complete. He doesn't have the quit that he used to have before. He used to kind of just, once he took a hit, he didn't want to be in there. He's no longer that guy. His hands are legit. We saw his knockout power on display multiple times recently. I think if he can withstand Justin's power shots early on, I think it's going to be a close fight for sure. But I just think Justin is going to fall short. I think the size difference, people don't realize because Charles is so slender, how big Charles really is. Charles can easily go up to welterweight and not blink an eye. He's so big. Poirier's another really big guy, and when you saw them stand face to face, Charles was the bigger guy. He is massive. People don't realize it's a problem. Gaethje is a true lightweight. He's not a huge dude. He probably walks around 170 or something like that. I could see Charles easily ballooning up to like 190, 195 on his off weeks. He's just a big dude. I think,
I also just want to say real quick on Justin's side. Justin's in a great camp. Don't Let's not forget that. So his improvements are probably definitely occurring. Working with Usman and Rose, And that camp has really been on a bit of a streak. They're seeing a lot of success.
All right.
On the other side, I also wanted to give a quick shout out to, and they have a really good boxing game over there because you see Usman's boxing going up. But like I said, Charles's boxing been going up just like Usman. Both of them keep getting better. But I want to give a quick shout out just to Charles's white tooth game. He's got the shiny white teeth game. And
He's the winner. He's the winner in the white tooth game.
And he's rocking his shades. He looks like the Joker out of that old Batman.
Yeah, he's
cartoon.
got the chiclets for sure. I'm not gonna deny that. He's got those chiclets. Yeah, so I'm picking Charles to win here. I think the size advantage is just going to be too much for Gaethje. I don't think he realizes that. It's going to be like that Khabib just rolling around in there. He's just a big dude dropping a lot of weight to make these cuts. I think we're going to see him get to the ground game much later on. Justin's going to be probably too strong. His wrestling's going to be a little too good in the early rounds. I'm going with that sub. I think it's going to be in the championship rounds. Charles is there, man. Dude is not going to quit anymore, and that's all you need to see out of him. You got to see that he doesn't quit, and he doesn't quit. I like Charles. I think he's the rightful favorite. Charles, 4th round sub, 5th round sub. He finishes Justin. Now, the card market goes, I'm just going to throw this out there. Charles goes way back, 2010. I've talked about him before. He's finally getting the respect he deserves. He was so cheap for so long. He had a lot of struggles early on in his career, but he's persevered through that. He's definitely a buy right now, and we're going to see if he breaks this record and starts defending the title a lot more times than Khabib and stuff like that. You got to start putting even more respect on his name. The guy could have been picked up for peanuts for a very long time. Now his cards are getting kind of cheap. Getting kind of expensive. They're where they should be. Justin, fun dude, loved by fans, printed in 2018 chrome. I feel like I have a few of those laying around probably for winning my cards later on. I feel this is the perfect time to sell this dude, though. I don't think he gets it done here. I think you unload while he's hot. And even if he does get it done, the killer's coming up below him. I think he's going to have a harder time with guys like Islam and those super heavy grappling wrestling guys coming up, where Charles just is so comfortable on the ground, I don't think it would even bother him. I think it's a good time to sell Justin, win, lose, get rid of him before the fight, before he loses. That's just my opinion there. And take a look at the prices. You can get them for a pretty good price. I know I have some colored ones. They're still cheap. All right, but let's move right on because we got another championship battle going on here. We got the strawweights. Rose Namajunas minus 200 favorite. She's 29 years old. She's 11-4, and she's on a 3-fight winning streak, beating Weili twice and Andrade in the rematch. I got to tell you, she definitely beat Weili. No questions there. Her rematch with Andrade was super close, though. I remember that one. I didn't go back and rewatch it, but it was super close. She's going up against Carla Esparza, ranked number 2. She's a plus 170 underdog. She's 34 years old. She's 18-6, and she's on that 5-fight winning streak, beating some absolute killers on her way up, too. A lot of split decisions and stuff, though. But she beat Yan Zhao-Nin, Marina Rodriguez, and Michelle Waterson. Tom,
if she wins here, she's probably going to have to rematch Marina.
Probably, and let's just... This is a rematch. This is the first ever strawweight championship battle in the UFC. And Carla got the W in that one. What do you see happening in this rematch, though? This is quite the time later. What is this? 7-8 years later now.
Yeah. Rose definitely has the stand-up advantage. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. But I don't think Carla's going to look to stand. Look out for the Carla GNP. It's starting to pick up. A lot of people were just thinking Carla's kind of a little bit more of a boring fighter for some people who aren't into the actual mixed martial arts aspect of MMA, and they would much prefer to maybe go watch Glory and, fights like that, because that's what they want fighters to do in mixed martial arts. But that's not what mixed martial arts are. You play to your strengths, and wrestling is one of the key aspects, along with, of course, jiu-jitsu and, stand-up as well. Carla, though, ground and pound on the rise, I'm going with her, man. And I'm either picking a decision as, like, my fallback, but I'm kind of seeing Carla by GNP round 3 or 4.
Oh, you think she finishes Rose out here, huh?
I think she finishes Rose.
All right. Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been calling for this upset on my videos. I've got a lot of fans. They disagree with me from early on. I've been calling for it. I think Rose is definitely the more technical, better, faster striker. But as you mentioned, I think Carla can get this to the ground. She's not going to look to be in front of Rose. It's just not a smart move. I think, as you mentioned, I think Carla is a boring fighter. I think she grinds out a lot of wins. She doesn't go for the gusto. I know it's a full MMA match, and I'm not arguing that fact, but a lot of times she just lays there for control instead of really looking to finish and push the pace. And that's one thing about ONE FC that's very nice. I don't know if you know this because you haven't watched enough lately, is they actually can give yellow cards in the fight.
Like Pride.
Right, which if they're not pushing the pace in the fight, they deduct the purse from the fighters. It could be one, it could be both. Depends who's not trying to push the pace. It's kind of nice because sometimes they do just lay there with control and I'm all for the ground game and for the grappling, but sometimes if you just kind of laying on top of the person,
I feel like judges are kind of onto that a little bit.
You're still going to get the win if
it depends on the judge.
If you got top control for 4.5 minutes.
True,
you're going to get that round.
They absolutely can't do anything. That's
right.
True.
So. And also, I think Carla's wrestling is way better, and she's always been a wrestler. She keeps improving. As you mentioned, her ground and pound, for her to do that to Yan, that was incredible. To get the crucifix on her, that's a tough opponent. She's top-notch in my thing. I mean, she looks good in her last few wins. They're super top opponents. I think Marina, honestly, in a rematch, probably beats both of them, and I think she gives Rose a much harder battle. Marina's striking is very top notch. There's no question about that. I think this is probably also Carla's last chance to get a shot at the belt. So if she doesn't win this one, I think she's going to have a long circle back. And at her age, at 34 as a strawweight, I think she's going to have a problem getting back to that match. The only way I see it getting back is if this fight is so close, they have to just run it back right away. The top of this division, this is the deepest women's divisions by like a long shot. I think it's just going to be...
I think the only way that happens is if Carla wins. If Carla loses, they won't run it back. I don't think.
They might not, but you never know. It depends how close it is and if Dana thought she won or whatever. You just don't know. But that's it. I just named a few girls. We didn't even mention... Obviously, Whaley's still circling around with only a couple losses to Rose. We still got Joanna circling around in that rematch there.
But they're gonna fight though.
I know, but they're gonna look for the belt after their win. One of them's gonna win. Marina's obviously been steamrolling every girl in her way. She's gonna look for the thing. We got new up and comers rising. I just think Carla's gonna have a very hard time getting back if she doesn't get the win here. I got her getting the win. And now, as far as the card market goes, because
what's your call though?
I think she grinds by decision. I think she's going to land her in a boring fight. I think Rose is a very talented, very good BJJ.
Dominant, like a 4-1,
3-2, 3-2. There's no question.
3-2.
Rose is talented. Like, I'm not taking anything away from Rose.
Oh, of course, Rose is the champ,
and she's got great BJJ. Where I don't think Carla's going to look to get that win, as I mentioned in her. I think she's going to look to more control the fight, take away Rose's attributes, because I believe she's a black belt in BJJ. I'm almost positive. And she's not going to look to get caught in some kind of armbar or something like that, trying to get the finish. That's the only problem I have with Carla in that fight. But as far as the card market goes, Rose goes all the way back to 2015. You can still find some good deals on her. She's loved by many. But as her record shows, she's not an active fighter, and that hurts her value overall if you look at her pricing. I know she sells well, but I don't see many big numbers from her sales. I say sell due to a couple factors. She doesn't love fighting. She's mentioned it numerous times, and she wants to retire with a certain amount of money. It wasn't ever about the legacy, the title, the record, any of that. She can say that now, but she's always said it's all about the money. And then, as I mentioned, she's not active enough for me. She's not 3 times a year. She's a once-a-year person. I'm not a huge fan of those. I don't fight, but still, I'm in for the active guys. I feel like we see Charles get in the ring a lot and stuff like that now. Carla, also printed back in 2015. She's cheap. She's undervalued. I got to say a buy on her. I think the main problem with Carla is normally her fights are very boring, as you mentioned. We touched on a few times. A lot of wrestling, just laying on top of control, not many finishes, not a lot of volume in her fights. And when she does get hit, she tends to puff off, and it looks bad in the judges' scorecards. But I got to buy because she's so
also,
cheap, though.
I think also because of that, she's definitely not a popular fighter.
Right?
Yet.
No, she's not. But that's why I got the buy on her, because she's so cheap, and she could become champ.
Right.
And she dates back to 2015.
A lot of room to grow.
A lot of room to grow here. She's a little older, though. Not older, but 34. You got it.
Right.
You got to hit it now. That's the only thing. You got to hit it now. All right, let's move right on because we got another good battle here. We got lightweights. Michael Chandler, ranked number 5, minus 380 favorite right here. He's 36 years old. He's got a 22-7 record. He's on that 2-fight losing streak. And last guys that he lost to was Gaethje and Oliveira. Now, he's going up against Tony Ferguson, who's still ranked number 7, plus 290 underdog. He's 38 years old. He's 25-6, and he's on a 3-fight losing streak, being Beneil Dariush and Oliveira and Gaethje also. Tom, what does El Cucuy got left in the tank here?
Man, El Cucuy, man, out of Oxnard, California. Loved Oxnard. When I was in the Navy, I was stationed in Point Magoo, just south of Oxnard. Used to go out there. Shout out to El Taco de Mexico, Fifth Street Burrito, some of the best burritos on earth in the area. Cop one. This match, though, Michael Chandler, let's remember, Michael Chandler, D1 wrestling. Kukuy's got wrestling as well. Chandler never been subbed in his career. He does have losses, but he's never been subbed. What am I thinking here? I'm thinking, dude, I would love to see Tony be able to come out and pull an upset here. What's the line?
Minus 380 for Chandler, plus 290.
Okay, yeah, I would love to see Tony pull out an upset. He seems like he's frustrated. You can hear him in the talks. He's very frustrated with the way things have panned out and just with the way, he's doing a lot of kind of finger pointing and things. And I'm not saying he's wrong. So I think he is making a lot of good points, but doesn't seem to be really focused on him needing, well, I can't say that. He's talking about a lot of other things with fighters and the way fighters are treated, the pay, all the things that circle around having a good career in fighting. However, you need to worry about this fight too, my man. You can talk about that afterward as well. But he is using his spotlight to make those statements. So I give him some props on that, but I just worry. And he did sound pretty coherent. So that's a good sign too, because Cucuy can get out there sometimes. What am I thinking? I got to go with Chandler, though, by decision or possibly even a referee stoppage. I mean, Tony's not tapping, or he's not going to probably get knocked out either, but he just might get beaten to where they got to stop it. I can see that happening too.
We've seen it happen, yeah.
On the other side, though, I got to say, if Chandler gets too cocky, I could see him getting subbed. The first ever time getting subbed.
Okay.
Tony slipping in a Darce choke. He loves stuff like that. If Chandler gets too cocky, I could see him getting subbed. But my pick is Chandler by decision or referee stoppage.
Right. So, I agree with the pick. I think this fight's a retirement fight for Ferguson. I think this might be the last time we see him in the octagon. He'll be on a 4-fight losing streak. All good guys and all, but he's 38. He's taken an insane amount of damage. I mean, it's not even funny what he's been taking in his losses, though. Forget about the wins. He was taking damage in all of his wins. I think the UFC basically makes this fight so it doesn't look like they wasted bringing Michael Chandler in, because Chandler's been having a rough go at the top dogs, too. He looks good, but he's been getting beat.
No, but that could have been fight of the year.
It could have, but he lost.
Chandler definitely got props. True, but his losses weren't monumental.
They were monumental because now he's circling down lower. He's not looking at the.
I know, but I disagree from a fan standpoint. I view Michael Chandler right up in the top because I look at it like him versus Gaethje was such
he's 1-3 in the UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a losing record in the UFC. You're one of the best Bellator fighters. Next champ over there, you come in here and you beat one guy who's, I don't even know if he's ranked anymore. Hooker's way down the rankings if he is ranked, and you're circling at number 5 when you haven't beat any of these guys.
You lost to the champ, Dubanks, who's on a 10-fight win streak, who had a flash knockout. It was a very close
fight. The champ slept him.
True. I know that. And the champ I know that, but I just disagree with you there, flat out. I think Chandler deserves to be right where he is.
You got to win. He hasn't won. He hasn't beat anybody in the top 5.
Dude, Gaethje's 5-3.
But he's beating guys
in the UFC. I know that, but he's 5-3 in the UFC. He's fighting for the belt right now.
This is it. This is Tony, the fan favorite. Brings a lot of attention. 38 years old. I think he's done against any top tier opponents, in my opinion. I think maybe we see him get another fight. Maybe he'll be a gatekeeper for the top 15. Dude is not beating any top guys anymore. He's falling out. 38, the damage he's taken, sit him down. He's got to go way down the chain to win. That's how I feel. The damage he's endured is short of reckless. In his prime...
Well, he almost got his arm pulled off by Dubanks.
Beneil Dariush snapped, I don't know what, ankle or knee. He heard it pop, and he still didn't tap. You saw the grimace on him. Horrible.
Oh, yeah.
In his prime, though, he was spectacular. I mean, for me, Ferguson, retire while you're healthy. I think Chandler actually finishes him. I think he KOs him. I think he KOs him pretty early. I just think we're going to start seeing the brain fog build inside of Tony Ferguson. He's not the same Tony Ferguson, regardless of his training, his cardio, any of that.
Especially after that Gaethje fight.
He's not there. So I'm taking Chandler. I'm taking him to KO him. He's got better cardio than he looks like he would have, being so strong and durable. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to be investing in either of these dudes' card game. Chandler just printed, highly unlikely he ever becomes a champion at 36 years old. And Tony never held a unified belt, and I'm going to say never will hold the unified belt. So I think you sell them both while they're in the limelight right now. You got to hold the belt at least one time. Neither of these guys are going to hold it without some miracle happening. All right, let's move right on.
Unless your last name is Diaz.
Yeah, well, I mean, McGregor or Diaz or something like that. Yeah, maybe you can get a shot at the belt.
McGregor held belts, man. He held belts. He's
but I'm saying to come back after not winning and get a belt shot. It's not.
No, but the Diaz brothers have never held belts.
Right. No, I mean, listen.
Well, at least in the UFC.
Masvidal's never held the belt either in the UFC. He's not.
Correct.
But
I'm saying the popularity. Right. You could still be popular in your card value.
Yeah, I mean, those guys they're not there, though. All right, welterweight battle. This is another very tough call here. Randy Brown is the underdog at -105. He's 31 years old. He's 14-4, and he beat Jared Gordon, who is no longer with the promotion. Did he sign with Eagle FC? I think the Night Train. I think he signed with Eagle recently.
I didn't know Jared got cut.
I'm pretty sure Jared got cut a while ago. I think he fights with Eagle FC. And Alex Oliveira, who also...
Who was the guy that just fought last weekend from Queens? What was his name?
Jared Gordon. This is Jared Gooden.
Oh, okay, Gooden. I thought you said Jared Gordon. I was like, I didn't know he got
Jared
cut.
Gooden got cut.
Oh, yeah. Gooden. So
he's caught. I believe he's with Eagle FC and Cowboy Oliveira also. And then Randy Brown, his recent losses, they weren't even that recent, but all top-notch guys. I just want to mention it was Luque, Nico Price, and Bilal Muhammad. So I mean, the guy's not losing any. Yeah, he's not losing any bums though. Those are legit dudes. He's going up against Chaos Williams, who's a -115 favorite here, 28 years old. He's 13-2 record, and he last beat Miguel Baeza and Matthew Selmsberger. Tom, what do you got going on here? This is, I mean, there's path to victories for sure for both these guys.
Randy Brown's weakness is that he could be knocked out, and that's Williams' strength. So that's one thing you got to look out for. But what do I see happening here, man? I watched Randy in his last fight. I was impressed. I think he's getting more and more well-rounded. He's got some nice sneaky strikes as well. That guy Gooden just had a heck of a chin to even be standing at the end of that fight. He was catching some big hits. Randy was putting it on him. He didn't finish him, but he was putting it on him. And if Randy can avoid getting KO'd here by Williams, I think he can win in decision, man. I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going to go with Randy Brown here.
Yeah. I like Randy Brown. I mean, he got the one-arm choke in there. The guy's lengthy. The guy's talented. I think this could be fight of the night. This could be the fireworks right here. I'm just calling it now.
Wow, fight of the night.
This could be, yeah. Okay. I don't feel great about taking either side on this one. I'm not gonna lie. Chaos Williams has the fight-ending power for sure, and we've seen it on display many times. Randy Brown, on the other hand, though, he's improving every time out we see him for sure. He's got a complete game. He's got decent power himself. I agree. I'm taking the underdog here. I think Randy Brown subs Chaos Williams after he avoids all those big shots in round number 1. I don't love it, but Randy's only got losses to really top-notch guys. I mean, Nico Price might not be ranked in the top 5 like Luke Campbell, but Nico Price is a gamer.
But Nico's a respected fighter.
Yeah, he's a gamer. I think Chaos, he's got some more climbing to do before I call him a top guy, though. That's why I'm taking Randy Brown in this one. Would I be surprised if Chaos goes out there and knocks out Randy Brown? Absolutely not.
That's his path to victory in my mind, because that's
absolutely it's his path to victory versus anyone. The guy has that power in him. There's no question. We've seen it over and over again. He's a stud, but I think Randy Brown just has more skill set. He's more experienced. He's got a lot of stuff.
Randy's the type of dude who might kick you in the chin.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. So we're in agreement. I think Randy Brown gets the upset here. Now, as far as the card goes, I looked around. I don't see that Randy Brown's even printed yet. I couldn't find him anywhere.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I did not see him. I mean, maybe I just missed him, but I was looking. I did not see him. So we'll evaluate him later. I mean, Chaos is printed in 21 Prism, and honestly, he's worth a small speculation. He's got the goods, man. His numbered cards are so cheap. You can get your hands on them pretty easy right now. You gotta look to maybe grab a couple of those. I'm not saying I think he's going to be the top guy, but you don't know. He's 28, 13-2, and he has the ultimate equalizer when he fights anyone. It just...
Bang.
Yeah, so, I mean, you got to take that for what it is. Now, let's move on to another fight where I do think we have a little bit more one-sided battle here. We got the featherweight females going to town. Macy Chiasson, ranked number 11. She's plus 185 underdog. She's 30 years old. She's 7-2. And she's coming off that loss to Raquel Pennington. She's going up against Norma Dumont, who's ranked 15. She's a minus 225 favorite. She's 31 years old. She's 7-1. She's on that 3-fight winning streak, beating Aspen Ladd, Felicia Spencer, and Ashley Evans Smith. I mean, pretty nice names to have on your record.
Yeah,
her only loss is to Megan Anderson, who's no longer with the promotion.
I think she got knocked out.
She did get knocked out, and she was smothering Megan Anderson until that knockout. And I mean, I'll go over it a little later, but what do you see happening here?
I mean, think I'm with you on this one. If you're leaning the way that I think so, you're going with Norma, and so am I. I'm thinking Norma's too much here. I got her by decision.
Yeah, I think this fight isn't clear-cut, but I really do like Norma here. She's super aggressive. She's super big. She's super strong. And she needs to stay up here at the featherweight. She is a true 140. I don't know if you saw her. I follow a bunch of them. Sometimes I try not to go on social media too much, but I saw her making her cut down, and she is ripped. And she's cutting down to 145 ripped. I mean, she looked freaking cut up. I think Macy's got decent hands. I don't see that she has a great gas tank on her. I don't see that she has a great chin on her. I don't see her all-around game being great. She's definitely got some hands, some decent power and stuff like that where Obviously, you could see that flash knockout you're talking about and get around her neck or something like that. But I think Norma is just, for being so big in that division, I think she's got a pretty good gas tank. I think she's got way faster hands than you believe. I think she might even have the speed advantage here. I think she's got the power advantage. I think Norma finishes this one. I think we get a round 2 knockout here for Norma Dumont.
Nice.
And now, Norma's not printed. Macy, I got no interest in her as of now. And here's the thing about this one is I wouldn't worry about their card. No, this is totally different. I'm not going to worry about the card marker of these ones because UFC really needs to step up and reinstate the women's featherweight division. They make a few fights here when these girls aren't making bantamweight, but they had cut the featherweight division. That's why Megan Anderson's no longer with the promotion. And how can we invest in girls if there's only 3 people in the division? Just because Norma's legit. Norma's not a bantamweight. She's legit featherweight. But who's she gonna fight if no one's in this class? That's the problem. It's not that I don't like these girls or anything like that. It's just we need a featherweight division for the females in the UFC. They just make a few fights here and there. They don't actually have a featherweight division. You can go on their rankings list, and they'll just have Amanda Champ and the rest of the division's cut. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's not that I don't. I like Norma. I think Norma actually has the goods up here. All right, but let's move right on to the flyweights because we got another one that's. I'm not loving this one. I think it's a little more one-sided. We got Brandon Royval, who's ranked number 6. He's a minus 240 favorite. He's 29 years old. He's 13-6, and he last beat Bontarine and lost to Pantoja and Moreno. I mean, top of the food chain losses right there. Going up against Matt Schnell, who's ranked number 9, plus 195 underdog. He's 32 years old. He's 15-5, won no contest. The no contest was his last fight to Rogério Bontarine that he lost. Bontarine popped for illegal substance, and they overturned it. And
it was roids.
Yeah, it was some kind of roids in there.
It wasn't weed.
No, it wasn't weed. It was something. It might have been a masking agent or something.
It was a performance enhancer.
So, but then before that, he last beat Tyson Nam. Tom, what do you see happening in this one?
Hey, look, as always, you could go either way. I like how Matthew Schnell now goes by his entire name, Matthew Christopher Schnell. And oddly enough, we do know, we've discussed this, that Matt Schnell has a bit of a cult following. I'm always fascinated by that. That said, I think Brandon Royval, it's going to be too much here. I think although Matt Schnell is kind of a karate guy, he's also got that BJJ too. I don't think he's a black belt yet, but he's experienced. But I'm going to go with Royval by round 2, maybe guillotine, finish, or a decision.
All right, yeah, I mean, I think one of the big things Matt Schnell is missing is just being mean in the cage. He doesn't look like he goes for that dominant finish, even if he gets a guy. Where Brandon Royval, he looks mean. He looks nasty out there. I think that's a big difference. It's almost like Schnell's being a nice guy in these fights. Matt seems to be more a finesse game here, where I think sometimes you got to be able to get into that firefight. He really struggles to make weight, too. That seems to really hurt him. I don't know. I'm not in his shoes, but I don't know why he doesn't try to move up a fight or two. He's a pretty tall guy. He's not like a really short guy that he needs to make this weight. He's had a lot of problems. He might be a way better fighter at bantamweight. He might not be draining himself to get down here and look better. He might have a better chin. He might have more power. I don't know. But I like Royval here. He's just craftier. He's meaner. I think he may have a slight technical disadvantage, but I think that's where it ends. I lean towards him in the power. I lean towards him on the ground. Even on his back, he's always trying to put up submissions. I think Brandon gets it done here. I'm not sure exactly how he wins. I can't tell you until I got to watch what Schnell weighs in at. If Matt Schnell actually made a really good weight cut, this can tilt my way that I think Brandon finishes him. How good is his chin and everything like that. I still think Brandon's going to win this one. But Schnell maybe wants to try bantamweight. I'm just throwing that out there. Brandon Royval, I'm taking him. I think he's going to knock out Matt Schnell. That's my pick. All right.
I think if Schnell, I think if Schnell gets knocked out, he gets cut.
He might get cut. I really think he should try to move up, as I mentioned. We've done a ton of times, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. Now, as we mentioned, Schnell's got that big following as far as the card market goes, and I think you should use that to unload him here while he's being an active fighter. I think at 29, Royval has a ton of skills. I got a hold on Royval because he's starting to really put it together. If he can get on that winning streak, he can go and challenge for that belt. Dude's ranked number 6. He's not far off. And he looks good. I believe he's entering his prime right now. Those few losses early on, they don't seem to affect him when he gets in there. He's a stud when he gets in there. And if he can just fine-tune a few things, I think Royval's got a complete game. And we just might see him really get up there and challenge a few more of these top guys. Now, both men were just printed in 21, and they can both be bought for very cheap. So take a look. I'm just saying, maybe you want to speculate a little bit on Royval at 29 years old, ranked number 6. Only losses is, like I mentioned, to top guys. He's a stud. All right, let's move on to what I would say might be my. This is one of the hardest picks I've had on here, man. I've been back and forth in my own head. I had to go back and watch tape on this one. I didn't get to watch as much tape as I'd like on all these fights just because, like I said, I was away for a little while. But Flyweights, Tracy Cortez, minus 145 favorite. She's 28 years old. She's a 9-1 record here. And her only loss was her pro debut. And her last fights was a win over Justine Kish and a big girl, Stephanie Egger. I mentioned that because she's fighting Melissa Gatto, plus 125 underdog, 26 years old, 8-0 with 2 draws. She's on that 3-fight winning streak, though, beating Sijara Eubanks and Victoria Leonardo. I mentioned Eubanks because Eubanks has a heavy wrestle style and is a very talented female fighter. Tom, which one of these gets their first UFC loss?
Yeah, well, Cortez only lost the first fight of her career, and then she won 8 in a row.
9 in a row.
Or 9 in a row.
That's what I'm saying. This will be her first UFC loss. So
yeah, and really the first one since her first fight, professional fight. So, look, I saw the pictures of Cortez. She trimmed up like crazy, man, for this fight. These women cut, man, just like the men. They really do cut. They don't take it easy. It's
Gatto is a freakish animal if you look at her frame and physique and everything, for sure.
Yeah, I looked at Cortez, just really slimmed up for this fight. Looks like a pretty clean cut, though. Tough pick here. But I'm going with Gatto by strikes, round 3. I'm going with the finish or a decision.
I've been back and forth. I really think this fight's going to be a challenge for both women here. I don't see a clear-cut winner here. Gatto is straight cut up. She's got a ton of skills herself. I mean, her stand-up is not as good as Cortez's, but her stand-up is getting a lot better. She's got a great 1-2. I also think Cortez might be the smaller girl here, and that might really hurt her. I got to see them face-to-face. I'm sure the weigh-ins are right now. I went back. I did watch their last couple fights here. I'm leaning Gatto here just because Eubanks is the dominant wrestler like Cortez. It's going to be a very similar game plan. I've been back and forth because you watch Gatto's game and she's throws up so many submissions. She's so flexible and so lengthy down there. And we know Cortez is going to want to wrestle.
Cortez got mad heart too.
Listen. I was leaning Gatto. I think I'm going to go against Tom on this one. I'm going to change my pick.
Let's go. Boom, boom.
I'm taking Cortez. I think she can stay out of the submission game from Gatto. I think she's that well rounded. I think her game plan should be to keep it on the feet.
Gatto, and by the way, I got Gatto by strikes, not sub.
Well, I think she's going to have a hard time with that one, but you never know. Both girls want to be on the ground, and I think Cortez has an advantage on the feet. She's got that bouncing in her step. She's quick side to side. She's got pretty quick hands. She's got a decent right hand. Yeah, this is women's MMA, guys. It's not an easy one. But I'm going to take Cortez. I think she grinds out a decision win here. Now, let's just go over this here. The card market for these ones. Melissa Gatto, she's not printed. So I'm not going to waste a ton of time on her yet. Tracy is being printed right now. She's coming out in the new set that's dropping right now. She's going to be in the Donruss set.
Nice.
I think she's a must-buy. She's undefeated in the UFC. She's got that large social media presence. She's a very good-looking female to some people.
She's got the link to Ortega.
Right. She's with Ortega. She's heavily involved in the UFC. She's a lifelong fighter. I got to put the buy on Cortez for sure. Buy on Cortez. She gets this win even though Gatto's not well known. Gatto is very talented here. This is a big win for Cortez. Don't be fooled here. So,
Gatto's crazy young too. They're both
crazy
under 30.
young, 26 and 28. So crazy young. Gatto's just jacked. She's on that Brazilian juice.
Pineapple juice.
Yeah, she's on that Brazilian juice for sure. All right, we got one more fight that we're gonna cover today. Another one that's very tough pick here. I've been back and forth on this one. We got strawweights going at it here. We got Ariane Carnelossi, plus 155 underdog. She's 14-2. She's 29 years old. And she last beat Estela Nunes and Na Leng. She's going up against Lupi Godinez, minus 180 favorite here. She's 28 years old. She's 7-2. And she last beat Luma Lupumi. And before that, she tried to go up in weight and she lost. So keep that in mind there because Carnelossi is freaking jacked.
Carnelossi is super jacked.
Super jacked. She's short, though. She's not big. Luana Carolina, who Godinez lost to, is a very tall, very lengthy fighter. And Lupi had a very hard time getting her down. Tom, what do you see happening here? This is a very tricky fight.
Yeah, no doubt. And they got Lupita as the favorite here, too.
Big favorite, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that, actually. You know, I'm going with the underdog here, man. And not only that, I'm going with the underdog with a finish. I'm going with Carnelossi by strikes or a sub round 2 or 3.
Well, I mean, I could see it. This is, like I said, this one is tough. This is a tricky pick here. I got the keys to victory is can Lupe wear out Carnelossi? All that muscle on her.
True.
She doesn't completely gas out, but she definitely slows down as the fights go on. I think that's the key here. Can Lupe do that? Because Lupe's got the gas tank, for sure. Ariane is just straight ball of muscle, that girl. And she's going to walk down Lupe, eat any shots Lupe's throwing, and look to knock her out. And she showed she's looking to wrestle in her last fight versus Stella. She will look to wrestle. I mean, before that, she wasn't really looking to wrestle. You know, both girls, they want to get this fight to the ground. I think Lupe has a technical advantage here. I'm very undecided here. I was leaning Carnelossi to just hold Lupe against the cage and grapple to victory, not let it go to the ground. Just hold her again. She's so strong. She's so jacked. But if Lupe can start taking her down, I think this goes the other way. I'm leaning Lupe here. I got Lupe winning this fight. I want to watch weigh-ins. I want to see what Carnelossi is looking like for this fight. How was her weight cut? Lupe cuts down a little bit too, obviously, but my goodness, Carnelossi is just so jacked. So I'm taking Lupe here. I think it's going to be a decision. I think it's going to be something more like Carnelossi really tries to take Godinez's head off in the first round. She's got to really just grapple up and try to survive, and then she starts to take over from there. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. I mean, I would not be surprised, though, if your prediction comes through with Carnelossi knocks her out, because she just walks forward swinging haymakers. And my goodness, just look at the girl's arms.
I mean, I don't think the sub is out of the question either for Carnelossi.
No, it's definitely not out of the question. I'm just...
I got strikes or sub.
She just walks. She walks girls down. She's fun to watch. She's fun.
But Lupe isn't she's not the betting favorite for no reason. So
right.
I'm going with the underdog.
Listen, I'm not opposed to that underdog pick. go back and forth, back and forth. I just think Godinez has a little bit more in the gas tank that she's going to be able to wrestle, and she's not going to have the same problems getting down Carnelose after the first round as she did Luana Carolina, because Luana's advantage was just straight height and size, where Carnelose is going to be, I believe, the shorter fighter here. Carnelose's very short. She's going to be the stronger fighter, but how long is she going to have that strength advantage in this fight?
Right.
That's why I'm leaning Lupi here. Now, both of them, they're not printed. Maybe we'll see them a little bit later on. We'll go over them again. But we got a little time on them both. They're both unranked and everything like that, too. So we'll see. All right, guys, those 8 picks to go over.
Yep.
Let's see what you guys got. We'll catch you guys
Win
on
My
the next
Cards
one.
coming up soon after, too, so keep an eye out for Win My Cards. You know we always throwing heaters out there. All you get's free. All you got to do is put your picks in the comments, and don't pick the same ones as Mark, and follow the directions per usual that he puts out. Thanks, y'all.
All right.